What is up, everybody? My name is Jake with R1 Property Group. I'm a local real estate agent here in Southwest Michigan, father, soon to be husband, and more importantly than all of that, follower of Christ. And you are watching episode 2 of Drumroll. Please, if you watch the first episode, you get this, the Shepherd's Key podcast. So, I don't know if that's what we're going to really roll with officially, but I kind of like it, it ties in. Why do I like it? I like Jesus. I'm a total Bible nerd, by the way. So if you ever want to have those conversations, feel free to hit me up in the comment section or personal DM. I love having those conversations. But I also love real estate. So, kind of like this, hint towards faith and real estate at the same time, right? So what are we going to talk about today? So I came across a Bible verse, actually. I know I said most of these videos were going to be business oriented, and it's going to be faith, business, family. Like I mentioned in the first video, everything is kind of like a melting pot, so to speak. But I really thought for second episode was definitely going to be about houses or the market, interest rates, something along those lines. And I came across a Bible verse that I had highlighted in my Bible from years and years ago on the Prodigal Son. And I just kind of had this, I call them God moments, right? If you're a believer, you will get this reference where it almost seems like a whisper, right? Like a faint hint towards your heart or towards your mind of something that's revealed to you when reading scripture. So I was reading something I had highlighted through the parable of the Prodigal Son. And if you know anything about that story, it's that the son left home, took his inheritance, left home, and, went crazy, went out gambling, spending all of his money, definitely lost his way, ended up homeless, essentially, living with swine, living with pigs, literally, actually, and then was like, man, maybe I can go back to my father's house and he will accept me just as a servant, hopefully, right? Like if I'm lucky. And so he goes, and instead of being, welcome in as a servant, like, okay, like you messed up, go sleep with the servants and stuff. And, that'll be your new role, what he expected, right? Because he messed up big time. Instead of any of that, his father embraces him. And I do believe it says, he ran down to meet his son. And then his father held a huge feast in his son's honor. And was like, rejoice with me, for my son was lost, but now he's found. So I'm paraphrasing. So if I got this wrong, Bible scholars, because I know you keyboard warriors are out there, correct me, right? I don't know, like I dare you. So but what I got from it the second time reading this years and years later, but like genuinely, not just, reading the story or hearing the story, but actually like reading the text, was the first mistake, right? We hear the second mistake is kind of like what we all focus on there is, son that was lost comes home. But the first mistake actually was asking for his inheritance too soon before he was ready. And what I mean by this is, and he was a young man, right? He was probably early 20s, I would assume, if not younger, right? Or late teens, and asked his father for his inheritance at such a young age. Now, if you were older, I'm 27, for example. If you were my age or older, right? And I'm sure this will come with age, how bad of an idea that is to get your inheritance way too early. And so this prodigal son gets his inheritance too soon, before he's ready, right? And in this, you see his mindset. He's not mature enough. He's not spiritually mature enough, or let alone mentally mature enough to handle the blessings that were intended for a later time in his life. Now, in that, I find a lot of relatability when it comes. I sorry about whatever the heck that was from my gimbal. But I relate to that a lot, especially in this season, getting started with real estate, and kind of coming back to God in a sense, over the past year and a half, but especially over the past, I would just say 6 months, really. Always had God in my life, but there was a long season that, God was kind of placed on the back burner for me, if I'm just being completely honest. Kind of just went through the motions, you know what I mean? And over the summer, I put a lot of work into getting a lot of listings. Given that I'm not from this area, I don't have a huge sphere of influence like I know some other agents do. And even then, it is still hard work. Like, I'm not, discrediting that at all, right? Because it is hard work. But with zero sphere, I'm sure you guys can imagine it is a little more difficult to kind of, get people like, hey, I'm a complete stranger, not from this area. None of the people know me at all. Let me sell your house, right? That's kind of how it comes off. Not always, right? But like, just from my perspective, in a sense. But anyway, put a lot of work into getting a lot of these homes under contract, getting them listed, and like dominoes, I can't even explain why. And I remember kind of shaking my fist at God, like, why did this happen? Like dominoes, they all came off the market, left and right, just all of these listings that I was like, man, this will change the trajectory of my career, my family's life, my life. And just kind of really put us in a position that I would really like to be in, because you look at all that potential GCI. If you are not in real estate, that means gross commission income, or you wouldn't know, I should say. If you're not in real estate, GCI means gross commission income. So that's essentially what you could potentially make, right, on the sale of a home. So commission wise, but I was looking at that and I was like, man, this will be great. This is going to be awesome. Because even statistically, right, I was like, well, even if some of these don't work out, there's a good chance some of these other ones will, and that'll be good. And like dominoes, they just all came off. And I remember I was just scratching my head like, God, what is going on? I need this so badly. So I was really kind of in a slump. And just coming across that verse, right, and just everything else that's kind of been happening in my life personally, from business to relationships with friends and family around me, new relationships, and most importantly, my relationship with God has just been like blossoming into this newfound faith, I guess you could say, newfound. Trying to think of a good word here, but newfound inspiration, maybe. Somebody leave a comment in the section below and come up with something. I don't know. ChatGPT it, but yeah, and I'd say that newfound joy in faith and family and friends, church, God, everything. And it's just, I remember reading that parable recently and just kind of realizing that, like, man, had I gotten what I wanted then, and the mindset, and I know it was only 6 months ago, but don't ever doubt how much can change in such a little amount of time for yourself, or for those around you, for one. But it just kind of made me realize that, man, if I had gotten what I wanted then, before I was ready, right, before I was mature enough spiritually or mentally to handle that and to steward that in the correct way, I would have squandered my future success, my future my future self, right? I would have squandered that. And So in a way, it's kind of like, man, I got to thank God, right? And it's this idea that it's so hard to see past the storm in your life. It is so difficult to trust that things are going to be okay, that it'll all make sense for you when you are in the eye of the storm. It's really, really difficult. But I guess that's where faith comes in, right? You just got to have faith that despite your lack of understanding, that God will see you through it if you have that faith to trust in Him. And yeah, so I guess, just for me, on this, I kind of had the spur of the moment. I wasn't supposed to make one of these videos until next week, but but here we are. So, I just read that and I was like, man, I got to make a video on this because, I guess I'm trying to think of how to word this, because I wrote it down, but I can't because I can't get it because it's on my phone, which is being used to record this. So, but yeah, it's just this idea that if you receive your blessing too soon, it'll destroy you. And if you're not ready for it, it'll do more harm than good, right? And T.D. Jakes, if you're in the Bible sermon world, you know who he is. He's a pretty well-known preacher, writer, movie producer, all that good stuff. And he talks about this in a book that I read years and years ago called Crushing, where he mentions if he gave you his position, right? Remember, this man runs a mega church. Despite how you may or may not feel about those, that's not the point, right? Just let's get to the point on this. He runs a mega church, thousands of people, tens of thousands of people probably, runs tons of businesses, employs tons and tons of people, does screenplays, movies, producing, writing, books, all these different things. And he says, if I were to give you my position and you had never done any of this, you would be crushed under all of the responsibility that you never had to work to prepare for. And that hits deep for me personally, because it's, you don't know what you don't know, right? I mean, that's one thing, you don't know what you don't know, but at the same time, I'm really, I'm losing it a little bit, but hopefully you guys kind of got the point of, receiving something before you're ready will just crush you. It'll take you away from the purpose God has intended for your life. And yeah, for me earlier this year, if I had gotten that, I would have never, I would not be playing band in my church now, which is something glory be to God on that, but something I'd really want to do for a long time. I would not be involved with my church or with God, trying to be more involved with God like I am now, pursuing different avenues with my family, right? My kids and my fiance, and just trying to build deeper, more meaningful connections. Had I gotten that then, I would have given credit to myself. And totally neglected everything else. That is the key reason I do, and I'm trying to do what I'm doing now. So, that is what I got right now. We're going to try to keep these things around 15 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes, unless I can figure out a better way to make CapCut do some of the sound things I needed to do, so I don't sound crazy with static and all that. So yeah. But hopefully you guys enjoy this episode. If you did, please leave a like, comment, share, do whatever you got to do. Like I said in the last video, help me make the algorithm, our over AI overlords, do their thing and get my stuff out there. So, thank you guys again so much for watching. And as always, God bless you. Bye.